Last year I went to Ireland. When the plane quietly set me down on Irish soil, I instantly felt at home. I quietly went into the Dublin hangar and thought to myself, this is going to be a place for me to maybe find some answers to the questions that were running around in my mind. And I have to admit, I was running away a little bit. I was running away from my situation at home. To sum it up, just so you get a feeling of my state of mind at the time I landed in Ireland, my girlfriend had cheated on me with whom I thought at the time was one of my best friends. That was the luggage, the baggage that I took with me to Ireland. I, of course, tried to leave it there, but, well, I'll tell you when I'm telling you the story. You'll find out what I left and what kind of answers I found to questions I had. I was in the hangar, and I hadn't made any reservations whatsoever. The only thing I had was a car. A car that I just knew a little bit about. I knew his campaign. I'm in advertising, so I do try and keep up with the campaigns for the different car companies. I got a Mitsubishi Colt. A Colt. And the Colt, to me, was, in my mind's eye, I saw the ad, it was a big I love Colt. And instead of the heart sign, it was the Colt itself, a red Colt. And waiting for me on the parking lot when I went outside, when an Irish gentleman had pointed me in the right direction, was a red Colt. So I was instantly having a feeling of joy, because, well, it felt like a nice car. And it was a nice car, it drove really nice, but that's another story. I sat in my car for a few minutes, trying to get a grip on myself and trying to find the strength to start my journey, because, well, in Holland we are used to driving on the right side of the road, and in Ireland they drive on the other side of the road. So it took a little bit of convincing on my part to say, well, let's just ride on the left side, no problem. And I've been to Ireland before, so I should have been used to it by now. And well, I drove off. First I drove around in Ireland for quite some time. It was busy. There were big traffic jams. And there wasn't really a place for me in Dublin, I thought. So I tried to go to the coast. I drove to the coast, and I instantly thought, well, this must have been half an hour in my journey. Oh, this is going to be a great place to stay. It was at the coast. The place was called Rush. It had a beautiful view of the sea. It had a beautiful bed and breakfast with a nice garden and rooms that looked straight out over the ocean. So I thought, well, this is going to be a great place for me to stay. But fate said to me, don't rush, because Rush was fully booked. Every bed and breakfast, everything was fully booked. And it wasn't just Rush. At the time there was a Bon Jovi concert and a rugby match in Dublin, so almost all Irish people had flocked to Dublin and were taking up all the spaces around Dublin, all the bed and breakfast hotels and all kinds of stuff. So I drove and I drove and I drove, and I think I might have seen about 10,000 vacancy signs. There were a lot of vacancies. No vacancy signs. I'm sorry, no vacancy signs. And I went into a few hotels, and there were a lot of nice people trying to help me, but they all said the same thing. Sorry, we're fully booked. You can't find a place here. So I drove and drove and drove for about 7 hours. Because I went into circles and went back and stopped and thinked, and slowly getting scared because I hadn't made any reservations. And I thought, well, I said to the people at home when I left, I wouldn't be bothered if I had to sleep in my car for just one night. It wouldn't bother me at all. Because everyone said, you should make reservations. No, I said, it won't matter to me, it doesn't matter. I'll enjoy myself anyway. I don't really need to find well, I don't need to book in advance, because I'll find a place to stay myself. Well, finally, when I was at my final breath, because I thought, well, what am I going to do? I was hungry. I thought to myself, first you find a place to stay, then you eat. So I was really hungry. I didn't have anything to eat since, well, that morning. So I may have not eaten for about 7 to 8 hours. I was hungry, and when I almost thought there was no hope of me ever finding a room in the entire Isle of Ireland, something happened. And I'll tell you next time.